Okay, this video is about changing the spindle drive with the pulley on the top from the belts. It's under here, under this black plastic cover. There's a pulley on the top, the belt, and then the spindle drive runs down to the blade. I could hear this noise, and when I was rocking the blade, reached underneath and rocked the blade, it was all rocking, which meant the bearings are gone, so it needed replacing before it blew up. Why I'm making this video is that all the videos online seem to involve dropping the whole deck off, which is quite a big deal in my mind anyway, and you don't need to do that. You just do what I'm going to do. The first step is to take off these nuts, which will take that plastic cover off. There's one there, and around the back. I'm not going to film that because it's too hard to hold and do that. Quite easy to do with this socket wrench. It's 10mm. Right, those nuts are out, so I can just take that top off. Bloody caterpillar on there. So that's the pulley, the belt, and the thing around the back here is the brake. And when you disengage the drive, the blades, that thing comes on to stop the flywheel straight away, to stop the blades spinning. So when you put it back together, you just need to make sure that's back in the right place. And it's just running on it's a sort of fabric pad running on the side of the flywheel here, on the pulley. Now this is a 22mm wrench, round wrench, whatever you call them, and that should go in there. And it doesn't. So in fact, I used the open wrench, which seemed to go in a bit better. Okay, now it's on there. So I got myself all caught up in this, and it cost me a day because I could not undo that nut. And it couldn't have been more simpler in the end, actually. It involved me in the end buying a new pulley, off it falls, because this one got damaged and caused rubbing in the end. So I think the major trick of the whole thing is not to take the blade off first. It's underneath here, because it's as simple as anything. If you lie down and put your hand under there and hold the blade and give this a decent whack with the hammer, not too hard, just tap it open while you're holding the blade. The blade is in a lock position, so it will make the nut come undone. So don't take the blade off first, do it in this order. I'm not going to take it off because it's pretty simple from here on. So you knock off that nut, make sure you put it somewhere safe. You can just pull the pulley off normally, just by hand and move it to one side. The belt, I mean, move it to one side. There's now take the blade off from underneath. There's a big nut there. Just hold the blade and you should be able to undo it relatively easily. Mine came off okay. Then with this off and the blade off underneath, you undo these 4 nuts here, and then this whole spindle assembly will drop out underneath. And then you just buy a new one, put it back on, and grease it up. I found that they changed the nut size. There were bolts that fitted into a threaded spot in the drive, but on the new one it was just holes, so I had to buy new nuts and bolts. 7mm was too small, 8mm was too large, typical. So in fact I drilled out the holes in this thing here. 7.5 first and then 8. Being very careful not to split it or anything. And just bolted it back on, put a bit of grease over the top of them. Maybe they should have gone the other way, I don't know. And then when you put the belt back on, like I said, just make sure that this brake is actually rubbing against the two surfaces here of the pulley. Slip that back around, and then you can put this cover back on. Interestingly, I found that the cover keeps your fingers out of there, but it also stops when the pulley breaks. The belt can fly off sometimes. So this thing actually rubs here. The belts rub against this spot here, and it stops them flying off. So it's as pretty simple as that, actually. Just do it in that order first. Don't take the blade off. Hold it and get that nut off. And from then on, it's all pretty simple. So you don't need to take the whole deck off to do that. And I think you can get all of them off like this. Because it looked a bit messy taking the deck off. It is easier if you take the deck off. And there's plenty of videos online showing that. But if you're just changing one spindle, pretty easy. Now you've gone through my learnings, and that's what YouTube's all about, isn't it? Learning from the mistakes of others before you try something. So I used every tool under the sun trying to get that nut off the top of the pulley, and in fact all I needed to do was to leave the blade on and hold that, and I would have saved myself a day and a bit, and I wouldn't have had to buy that new pulley. So I hope this video is of help to you.